Hello guys, welcome back to this iqoption automation series. In this video, I'm going to show you how to place binary option trade. So let's get started. Let's go to trade.py, and this is the payload that we need to send in order to successfully place digital binary option trade. So the message body needs to contain this thing. Okay, so it needs to contain body, name, and version. So version gonna be 1.0, name gonna be binary dash options dash open dash option, and in the body is going to be dictionary, and inside dictionary there needs to be price. Okay, and the price is going to be the bet amount. Okay, and this needs to be integer. Active ID is the assist ID. Okay, and this also needs to be integer. Expired is the expiry timestamp, and we can get expiry timestamp using this function get expiry timestamp. Okay, so I have renamed it to get expiry timestamp. Before it was get expiration, now it's being renamed to get expiry timestamp, right? And direction is going to be either up or down, and then option type ID is going to be either 3 or 1. Okay, and then user balance ID. Okay, and we can get this from account manager dot current account ID. Okay, so this is the payload that we need to have. So first define this expiration timestamp, then define this option type ID, and then make this payload, and then we are good to send this to the WebSocket. So, okay, so this is all we need to do. Now let's see if this will place the digit binary option trade or not. Okay, just a moment, I want to show you. So I have refactor main.py a little bit, so this is how it looks now. Okay, so the function and inside function, I am initializing and doing all the things. Okay, so initialization, connection, and these things are for demonstration, like how to switch to different accounts, get tournament accounts and other things. Okay, for time being it's being commented. And then here at the bottom, this is how we are invoking that function. Okay, so AI bot dot, we have something, there is a trade manager object, and this has this new function that we just defined, place binary option trade, and this needs 4 arguments. So first needs to be assist, amount, direction, and expiry. Okay, so let's say let's trade regular EURUSD pair for time being, EURUSD, and in this needs to be OP. And second is going to be the bet amount 1, and third is going to be the direction, call or put, and fourth is going to be the expiry time. By default it's set to 1 minute, right? Okay, so far so good. Now let's go to WebSocket and then uncomment this print statement to ensure that, just to know like what kind of message we are getting when we are placing the binary option trade. Okay, good to go. So let's place the trade. All right, so the binary option trade is successfully executed, right? Now let's catch the message. Okay, we're not getting any WebSocket message for this binary option placed. So what we can do is, let's wait for about 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds will be enough to get all the WebSocket message related to binary option position opened. Okay, I will maximize it. Let's see what we are getting. Okay, so these are the things that we are getting for binary option. So it has socket option opened, and then this option opened, and then it has option, and then it has this option changed, and then balance is changed or updated once we place the trade, right? Okay, now let's try to get this, because this has a request ID. So if so this means we can track this order, right? Okay, let's try to get this thing from the message. So the name is option, right? So this the name is option. So let's go to our message handler, and here let's define a handler for that. So the name is option, and this is going to be the self dot handle option opened. Okay, now let's go to this function. Okay, I will comment out this line for time being. Okay, and we can simply print this. Oh, no need to print, right? We already know what's coming, so let's just make sure. Let's look at the message one more time. So it contains this thing. So it contains request ID and the name, and it contains message MSG, and inside this we have the order ID, and the price is the bait amount, right, and our expiry time and some other things. Okay, so from this we mainly need the request ID, okay, and the order ID for trade outcome uh, tracking, right? Okay, so uh, what we can do is, let's define a new attribute called order confirmations. Okay, orders confirmation, and inside this order confirmation, if binary option is successfully placed, this means we can have ID inside the message, right? So let's store this order ID inside this request ID key. Okay, and in case if order ID is not available, this means trade execution failed, and it will contain message instead of ID. So with key request ID will contain the error message. Okay, now let's print it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's print how it looks. This is how it looks, and now let's go to our WebSocket manager and comment out this print statement. Right, so this is how it looks. So the first thing is this is the request ID, and this is the order confirmation ID. All right, so it's working as expected. Now next thing what we can do is, actually we have this function called wait for order confirmation, right? So we wrote this function to confirm the digital option was placed or not, right? Actually we can use this function for digital option trade as well. The thing is, earlier we define it this way. So now let's do one thing. Let's remove this thing. Let's remove just a moment. Let's remove this thing, open position. Okay, let's remove this thing, and then here in handle digital option placed, so this is what we were doing before, right? We were storing it a attribute called open position and inside key digital option. Now instead of doing that, since this attribute purpose is to contain order confirmation ID, so we don't need to keep doing that. So let's do this order confirmation order confirmation message. Okay, binary, this digital option also like we also get message with name digital option placed and request ID, right? So let's set this request ID as key and the ID as value, and in case of error, okay, value as message. Now we can get rid of this. Okay, so we can get rid of this, and inside, okay, in this function, now instead of this, what we can do is, actually we can use this attribute. Okay, we don't need to keep passing digital option or binary option. We can simply do this. Okay, we can simply do this, and then other things remain the same, right? It either contains integer, which is ID, or else string, which is error message, right? So this is all we need to do. So we can use this function for the for confirming this digital option, binary option was placed or not. So what we can do is, so this WebSocket manager returns something called request ID. Okay, just a moment, I'll show you. So here, so this is the function, and it creates in case request ID is not passed, and this request ID it sends to us, right? Okay, so this request ID is also sent to the iqoption server, and it's the same request ID is passed back to the function invocation. Okay, next, so now what we can do is we can use this function that we already wrote. The function name is wait for order confirmation, right? And we need to pass two things. First thing gonna be request ID, and the second thing is going to be expiry time. Okay, so expiry. Okay, so this is all we need to do, and this function actually returns, it returns boolean value and ID in case of successful execution or message, right? So it returns tuple, so this means we can return it. Okay, so we call it, we invoke this function and we return whatever it returns to the other function that's calling it, and now we can get rid of this time.sleep. Okay, so this is all we need to do. Order confirmation is the same as this, so we can get rid of this. This was just for checking, so you can see the name order confirmation 2, right? So this was for testing purpose only. All right, so we are good to go. And here now we must be able, like order was placed or not, or if any error message was placed, we must be able to see that in this message format. Okay, so version 2, order executed successfully, order ID expires in 52 seconds, so expires in 51 or something second. All right, so it's working as expected. Let's also try to place for digital option, because we just made some modification for digital option, right? So we have this function called execute digital option trade, right? Other thing remain the same. So first thing gonna be assist, amount, direction, and expiry. Okay, so this is fine. Now let's just ensure that we're not breaking other programs. Okay, so we are getting error. Self.wait for confirmation. Trade manager object has no attribute called wait for order confirmation 2. Did you mean order confirmation? Okay, so a small mistake here. This is the problem. This needs to be order confirmation. Okay, that order confirmation 2 no longer exists, that I created for testing purpose, and is the same as this. Okay, right, so this time we must be able to place trade. So we already have digital option trade. Okay, so the trade was placed only because of that mismatching function, we got the error. We must see another trade placed. Okay, any problem? Okay, logging in, and then order executed successfully, expires in 69 seconds. Yeah, so order is being placed for digital option and binary option also, right? So it looks good, it looks good. Now other modification that we can make is this function, this the uses of this function is to like store request ID as key and the order ID as value, or error message as value, right? And we are doing same thing for this handle option opened also, right? We're doing the same thing, is the same thing. So what we can do instead is, so we can get rid of this, we can have only one function, because both of these both of them have the same same purpose, right? So let's rename it to handle option opened, and we can actually get rid of this function. You can get rid of this function, and here in callback function, so on both cases, digital option placed or option, the function it needs to call is this one. Okay, so we need to have both of these handler, but the function for these two gonna be the same function, because the purpose of these two things is the same. Now let's make sure it's working as expected, right? First, we are placing digital option trade. Okay, just a moment. Okay, digital option is placed, and we are also getting the confirmation. Right now, let's place binary option trade. Attributes can be same. Okay, order executed successfully, expires in 50 seconds. Okay, so digital option, binary option, right? So the new function is working for both things. So the new function, okay, so this common function is working for both a binary and digital option, and the same way this order confirmation function is working for both of them, right? So it's working as expected, so we are using common function. Next thing that we can do is, what we can do is define a gateway function in iqclient.py, and the thing is to execute binary option trade, the arguments gonna be same, and the way we needs to call it gonna be the same. So what we can do is actually copy this function. Okay, we can copy this function, and here place this function, and instead of digital, let's rename it to binary. Okay, and instead of digital, this needs to be place binary option trade. Okay, and we don't need to make any modification. Now we can directly call execute binary option using AI bot instance. Okay, perfect, working as expected. Okay, so far so good. The only concern, okay, my only concern is this, because both of these two functions for placing binary option trade and digital option trade, only the name is difference, right? But the argument are same, and we need to ensure connected, and like we pass the argument the same way. This means instead of writing this quite similar function in many places, because later on we will also try to we will because later on we have to also place bleached option trade, right? So for options trading, it can be uh, instead of writing like separate functions, like for common thing, let's try to write a one common function that will solve the purpose for all these three things. So this like, just a moment, let me figure out what can be done. Okay, so instead of writing this function this way, so for options trading, what we need is the assist amount, right, and the duration and the expiry. So these are the common thing for all options trading, right? So that means let's define a new module called models.py, and inside this module let's define this data class and enums. Okay, so here this data class will have attribute called assist, expiry, amount, duration, and one more attribute called option type. Okay, so and this option type is going to be either binary, digital, or later on bleached option as well, right? So let's use this thing instead of doing duplicate things in many places. And also, like, let's see what can be done. Let's write a common use function. For that, what we can do is actually, okay, let's define this function. Okay, let's define this function, and now instead of 4 arguments, it will accept a argument called trade params, and this trade params is going to be this object, and this object is going to have 5 attributes, right? 5 attributes, 4 of them are the same as we were passing before, right? Okay, and here we will determine, okay, so from here we will place all the options trade, either digital, binary, or bleached, from this common usage function. In trade.py we have like dedicated function all of these 3 things, right? But in a main module, iqclient.py, we don't need to keep defining separate function for each of these things, because the way they are invoked and argument are passed is the same, right? So we are trying to minimize kind of DRI principle. So now this trade params is this object, and this has called option type, and this option type needs to be either binary or digital. Okay, so if option type is digital, if trade params dot option type is option type dot digital, this means we need to place digital option trade. So we call this function trade manager dot execute digital option trade. Okay, I will rename it to place digital option trade. Okay, I just want to rename this thing. Okay, and here let's rename it to this, and let's rename it to place. Okay, so those are the 2 modifications that I want to make, and then we pass the argument this way. So first argument needs to be assist, second needs to be trade amount, third needs to be direction, and fourth needs to be the expiry time, right? So, and we can access each of these values from this trade params object, right? Okay, so these are the attributes of this trade params object. Okay, so far so good. Now how we can invoke this is this way. Instead of this, we can invoke it this way. Okay, first we need to import these modules, these models from this models.py. Okay, I'm importing it this way. Where is models? Okay, so I'm importing it this way. This IQ client does not contain the models, right? Models live in models.py, but inside this IQ client we are importing all the models. That's why we are able to access it here. Okay, so now we can call this common use function this way, and we need to pass trade params object, and we also need to define attributes. Okay, and these are non-nullable attributes. That means everything needs to be passed. There is no default value for this. Okay, So the like when we are like instantiating these option trade params, we can like define it anyway. Like we don't, these are not positional argument. Okay, so this means it can be randomly done, no problem. And after like instantiating this object, we pass this trade option params object to this thing, and this accepts right as trade params, and trade params is like essentially option trade params, and we can access it just like this with the help of dot notation. Okay, now so far so good. Now let's try to place trades and see what we are going to get. First, let's try to place binary option trade. Okay, euro USD, so the name, this needs to be euro USD dash op. Okay, and the amount gonna be, let's say 100, direction let's say call, and the option type we want to place is binary, and let's say 1 minute expiry. Okay, so let's see if this is going to work or not. Okay, so order executed successfully, expire in 74 seconds, binary euro USD $100 call trade, right? Working as expected, right? For this binary option, let's try to place for 3 minute also. Sorry, 3 minute also. So we can, for binary there is usually 1 2 3 4 5 and other time frame also, right? For some of the pairs now 1 to 10 minutes is available, and then other longer time frame like 15 30 1 hour time frame is also viable. Okay, so order is executed. So 3 minute expiry, so 2 minutes 32 seconds something remaining, right? Now let's also try to place for 4 minute. Okay, let's say 2 minute. Okay, for 2 minute expiry. Okay, this is for digital. For binary, for 2 minute there is 2 minute and 6 second remaining. Did it placed or not? Yeah, order is executed, and here you can see now we have two order for same expiry, right? Because this is like what we have remaining for 2 minute expiry. Perfect, it's working for binary option. Now let's try to place it for, let's try to place trade for digital option. Okay, so we can pass it as digital, right? We are defining digital as value digital. Okay, so let's see what we are going to get. Order execution failed. Okay, so order execution failed, and the reason is invalid instrument, because 2 minute is not available for digital option. Seems like it works for digital option as well. Now let's try to pass 1 minute, which is a valid trade parameter for expiry, right? Okay, order executed successfully. So digital option $100 1 minute, right? For 1 minute, this is what we have left, 1 minute and 15 seconds call trade. All right, okay, so now we are able to successfully place digital option and binary option trade using this new approach, right? And this function returns tuples, right, containing boolean value, status, and then the order ID, or let's say result. Okay, and so the status is going to be either true or false, and the result is going to be in order ID in case of successful execution, and error message in case of failed execution, right? And then we can check outcome. For now we have like we can check outcome for digital option, right? We don't have function to check for binary option. In the next tutorial we will write function to check outcome for binary option. Okay, and we can check the trade outcome this way. If status means if true, which means trade was successfully placed. For now we have functions to check uh, trade outcome for digital option. We haven't written functions to check outcome for binary option. In the next video we will write that. So in case of digital option, we can simply do AI bot dot get trade outcome, right? So we have this thing called trade outcome, and we need to pass order id and expiry. So order id can be, in case of successful execution, it can result, and expiry needs to be same as this. Okay, so for now I will give hard coded expiry time, right? So we are placing digital trade. So let's place the trade. All the trade have been expired. Okay, so order is executed and now it's waiting for trade outcome. Okay, and we have some 41 seconds remaining. Let's see what we are going to get. We are not printing anything written by this function, so we might not be able to see anything. Let's see if we are printing anything for this or not. Okay, so we are printing, right? Either loss, like we are logging this trade outcome, so we must be able to see like trade closed, either profit or loss, and profit or loss amount, right? Okay, so trade is closed. Okay, so trade closed, result loss, PNL 100. Okay, let's ensure. Okay, so trade is closed, $100 loss, right? Our script is working as expected without any error. We might have few errors or exceptions to handle it, right? In many places we are not doing that, but we will do that as we progress. In the next video we will write function to check trade outcome for binary option, and like in today's video we will try to make a common uses function instead of defining separate functions. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.